God save the Queen. Rest in peace, Elizabeth Regina.
Rest in peace.
Welcome to the throne, Chuck Rex.
King Charles.
King Charles.
Welcome back to the Gentleman's Sit Down. We are an untraditional podcast.
Trying to be a traditional gentleman.
I'm Satirius D. Lemitius.
And I'm Joshua Callahan.
Links in the descriptions for the social medias. There's a subscribe button down there, bell, comment section.
Yeah, there's things going on down there. Why don't you interact?
Likes, dislikes, share
Yeah,
buttons, Help us out. If you like the video. If you don't, well, you can still help us out by disliking and leaving a mean comment.
Yeah.
We like him too. Anyway, Queen Elizabeth. First, I guess we like to say, we want to send our condolences to anyone who loved the Queen, anyone who is hurt by her loss. We send our condolences.
Mad respect.
Mad respect. She was a wonderful woman.
70 years, like of ruling a commonwealth and over, like, you know what I'm saying? That's she's probably one of the most iconic, if not like remembered and thought of female in modern history. I mean, you can always say there's somebody else, but for like a short period of time. You're talking about 70 years. Everybody knew who she was.
Yeah.
Everybody, regardless what you thought of her and her interaction with society, you know who she is.
She met the Kennedys.
What?
She met the Kennedys.
I'm sure she did. 12 presidents?
Something like that.
I don't know.
A lot of them.
Do the math.
She was, it was like late 40, it was like 47. She was 21 years old. 1947, she was 21
Winston
years old.
Churchill was her first prime minister.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill.
That's crazy.
World War II. Google him.
Google him, Chuck. Yeah.
Chuck.
Crazy.
You talking to King Chuck?
Charles. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know much about the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
Only that, I know about the Queen. I know about Charles, King Charles now, and I know about Meghan Markle. I think her name is.
All their shenanigans like permeate our pop culture, and at some point or other, like you kind of like, what's going on over there? Like Lady Di and all that kind of stuff that was happening with Princess Diana. I mean, back in that day, it was like when she died, like the world stopped. Like I knew where I was. I was in college and we watched it on this TV and they're like, what is happening? And the funeral, same thing, the Elton John, like, so all that. And then you have the Margaret Thatcher and the Queen of it all and the Reagan of it all. That was like 80s. And then, then you have the Meghan Markle, like in current things with Harry. Like when Harry was messing around, he was like popping up when he, cause William was being the respectful heir to the throne and Harry was gallivanting and shenanigans. Like it just pops up. These things like, what are we talking about over here? I'm over here across the pond in America. Like, what is this monarch like stuff going on?
Yeah.
But you can't. Yeah.
I never paid attention to it.
But I guess what I'm saying is sometimes you couldn't help. Like you just like, what is going on over there?
No, it's true. There's stuff that you just see.
What the fuck is happening with these people?
Yeah.
It just pulls your focus sometimes.
Yeah, it's in the pop culture. It's in the social medias. Like I heard a lot about Harry and Meghan. I guess their marriage was controversial for the family or something. I don't know. They ended up in
and then they go talk to Oprah and then it becomes a thing. Oprah is like our royalty, and then she's talking to these people. What's going on? What's going on over there?
Yeah.
You don't have to know the ins and outs, but you know what's happening.
Yeah. So it's unavoidable.
Yeah, who are they to be so unavoidable?
Well, they're royalty, apparently.
I say that angrily, and I don't mean that angrily. I just like am curious. A monarch, like we watch our fantasy stuff, like the kings and queens of Westeros and the Middle Earth. And then here we are in modern day, and there's a monarchy. And I don't know. It's intriguing. But then it's a real thing that a whole world of people have to react to the Commonwealth. I mean, that spreads the whole world.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to clarify for me what
Clarify.
exactly is the Commonwealth? Because I don't really know what the Commonwealth is. That just the people of Great Britain?
No. The Commonwealth it's kind of like in the term. There's a shared wealth. Now, this is where it gets debatable and questionable and problematic, is because who benefits from the wealth of those people? You know what I'm saying? I kind of, all the money is made and goes like, you see money just go up like in a video game and it goes to your bank. The bank is England, right? So, there are people who were part of the empire that the Brits, we were once those people back in the colonies.
Great Britain.
And Canada still is. You got Australia still is. And you got some African nations and stuff in the, I mean, I'm not saying I know them all, but like Bermuda or something like that. You got these people, who are part of a Commonwealth. And they want to break away from the Commonwealth because it's like a taxation, or they get a certain,
Right.
And some of it now is by just, it's not so much monetarily as it is a kind of just a thing that you acknowledge, like the Queen's on their money because, she made them independent or made them, modernize them or whatever. Not she, but the UK.
The UK, yeah.
And so now they believe with this Commonwealth, when they were doing it for her and her longevity and conservative peacefulness that Elizabeth kind of established with the monarchy, that when King Charles comes up, he's gonna, a lot of people will then, okay, well, end of an era, we out.
Right.
They think like, Canada, Australia, there's going to be ramifications. It's going to affect the globe, her passing. I don't know if that explained Commonwealth really well, but it's like...
No, but I heard about that. I hear that, I hear and I feel from, because it's a modern, we're in a modern, more modernized era. I feel like a monarchy is not going to be,
it's prosaic. It's like, it's past. It's like, it's outdated.
Yeah, I feel like it's, there's a lot of people discussing how...
He says, holding a king mug.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people discussing on the internet that the royal family is going to slowly disintegrate now.
Yeah, but they always have a way back. Like, listen, the thing is, like, I'm not going to say I know everything about the royalty, but my partner is like, I don't know if they're like leaf peepers, but they're like royal peepers, or they're like royal watchers or something. And these are people who are American, but watch the royal throne like if this is a soap opera or the Kardashians. Like, I'm invested. Tell me some stories. What's going on over there? I want to take notes. But, for me, I'm fascinated by the actual ramifications it has to society. Like, how are they really affecting the British people? I don't know. I don't live there. But, they all have an opinion at certain times. And so speaking to like what you just said, like, they've always thought there was a concern, like they spend too much money, they take too much money, but the royals bring, a lot of money in through tourism and that kind of appreciation. Like they got merch, gives money to the country. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but then there's like, people will argue that the Queen wore a crown that had jewels that were taken from India and other places in the world during their occupations and stuff. So there's like an emotional response to a cultural or emotional response. It's from all sides.
Will Charles wear a crown now?
Eventually, I'm sure.
That's good.
That has those jewels like stolen from places during, But there's arguments to be made. Like if you to learn the history and go back in time, is there an argument to be made that they brought them into the modern era, or did they just like modernized them up to a certain degree and then just took their money and then left them to their own devices. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
you can. Yeah. I mean, I heard Charles's speech, uh, his first speech in regards to his mother passing, the Queen passing,
Mhm.
and it was poignant. It was well delivered, well executed.
What compelled you to listen to it? What if you're not somebody who like, what is this about? Like, 'cause see, I didn't.
Yeah,
I heard it had happened and I heard tidbits and pieces, but not all the way
yeah.
through.
I don't know. It just popped up, and I was like, huh. Well, I want to know what he has to say.
Because it's a memorable. It's definitely a milestone, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's talking
Moment.
about. I never listened to the Queen speak before. I never paid attention to the royal family. But I don't know. His mom just died, and he's king now. Finally, he's like, I don't know. I think that's what I guess intrigued me to hear what he would have to say, because he's probably, everybody's been making jokes for a while that he's been waiting forever to finally be king. You know, so
People have problems with Camilla being queen consort and that kind of stuff because Prince Charles was married to somebody and was cheating on her with Camilla. So it's like, is that really the
Hmm.
the character that a king should have? And there's all this talk. Whereas the Elizabeth, the Queen, was the last of an era of this conservative kind of respectable, stalwart, dutiful person as an example, as a representative, which is what the monarchy now really is. It's just our representative.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
introduce the prime minister and they have say, but then that's it. They're not really supposed to be political. It's about the character of the people
right,
who being ruled by parliament and stuff like that, and legislatively ruled by them,
yeah.
not the monarchs.
I hear there's like a scepter, like this giant scepter, and right now Parliament holds scepter, but it's like hanging in the Parliament room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and apparently, a friend of mine, I don't know how true this is, but a friend of mine who's British said, "Oh yeah, the king could just walk up, grab the scepter, and say he's the overruling monarch again, something like that." I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently, I don't know.
Sesame Daenerys kind of Targaryen stuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
come
don't
in.
think I don't think he's gonna do it, but
Well, there's a lot of things like like the Queen made a rule to that the heir can be a woman. Like it doesn't just go to the firstborn son.
Mm.
She finally decided that it can be the female heir. So in other words, what was it? George or Albert was the first son, and then Charlotte is the daughter. So the firstborn, whether it be boy or girl, will be the next heir.
Mm.
So that's, I guess, George. I don't know the son's name of Prince William. But Charlotte, had she been born first, she would have been Queen Charlotte. She could have become. She still can. She'll be the princess when whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so she changed that. Charles come in and he can change it. But a lot of what I'm getting at is a lot of things are done by design and out of respect. Like he would never change it because she was queen for 70 years. Everybody respects her. So this thing with the scepter too, it's like this is established, tradition. They're all about tradition. Like maybe he could, pull the scepter and be like, lightning comes from the sky. It's like, I am the ruler.
Yeah, right.
But he's never going to do it because of tradition and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Unspoken rule. It's like the president's office. Like there's something about the character, like something happens to your character or the person that steps in the Oval Office. Like you rise to the occasion, the duty of the office. It's supposed to be an unspoken kind of thing that now you're an executive for all the people, not just like a few people. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I also had another conversation in regards to what the comments you made about King Charles and his wife Camilla.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people. I mean, this isn't news. It's pretty popular theory, but a lot of people theorize that Diana was killed on purpose.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Google it.
Google
Look
it.
back. Take a watch. Take
Google
a look.
it, Chuck. Chuck. Google
Conspiracy theories.
it. Chuck.
Yeah. So they think that, get her out of the picture. Get somebody in who will be, You know, we got the heir and the spare. Let's move on and get him. You know, I don't know.
There was an heir and a spare.
Well, that's a derogatory way of referring to Prince William and Prince Henry. Like Prince William is the heir, and then something happens, they got the spare, they got Harry.
Oh yeah.
It's a bad. But it's out there. You know, it's out there.
Yeah, it's a thing they say. You know?
Not the thing I say. I'm just saying what was Ben said.
Yeah. A thing they say.
But like you were talking about, like they had her.
Yeah. But, you know.
That's the thing. People talk about
another thing. It's a reason
drama.
why.
Fucking soap opera over there.
Yeah. It's another reason why someone I know doesn't like Charles. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I hope they didn't do that, but you never know, right? Apparently,
I don't really know. You know, you can judge somebody's character, and if you think you couldn't put it past them, that still says something.
Yeah,
still tells you how you perceive them.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't put it past them because they talk about the Queen, the royals being an institution. It was in that Meghan Markle thing. It's the institution. It's like an establishment.
Yeah,
I don't know. They have, if anything else, if the people say, what's the power of the royalty over there? It's influence. Influence is power. They can influence just by saying a word or a phrase or something.
Yep.
Now, the Queen had influence, therefore power. Charles, well, it remains to be seen, but they suspect he will not have the influence his mother did.
At least
almost
not,
like grandmother.
At least not yet.
Old.
At least not yet. And he's also old, so his reign won't be that long.
It'd be interesting to see, get a box of popcorn, watch some news. What's happening with the world? What's Charles going to do with that? How you going to react? I don't really care.
Well,
but it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. I hope the
world will react.
Yeah, of course. There's a part of me, I don't know this guy. I don't really know anything about his family. But there's a part of me that hopes that he does well.
This guy, an optimist over here. I'm an optimist.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just,
he does well, but
maybe it's because I feel bad for the guy. His mom just died. And now he's finally getting his, people are making jokes. He finally got his dream job, I
don't like demoralizing a character who's on a platform, but he has a platform. Yeah. You're going to get judged.
Yeah,
You've been through all these operations for years trying to be discreet, but not so discreet. Well, there's consequences to that. And so people are going to say things, especially if you're the ruling monarch. You're not just, my name is Charles. No, you have a whole lot of baggage with you. You ain't just Charles. You're Charles, Rex. You have drama behind you. You have episodic drama behind you from the 80s, 90s, 2000s. People are going to react. So they have opinions about him. So it's not to be mean. It's just that they're reacting to the stuff to his actions. And if he's a representative of the character of the country, you better believe they're going to have strong opinions about that. Oh, you're the representative of the character of us, of the UK, of this Commonwealth? Well, I have an opinion.
Yeah.
But I get you. You can feel bad for the human who lost family. Granted, she was 96. She lived a long,
full life.
Wonderful life.
Successful life, too.
Yeah. Influential, iconic, all these words she earned. She didn't just receive it and put a crown and she got it. She earned it for the 70 years of her historic speeches. And, she may not sound interesting, but the words she chose to use and to say, effective.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he did. I liked his speech. He spoke about a lot of different things that are very modern, and he seemed very open and welcoming to all of it, and how he genuinely wanted to, he wanted to mourn his mother, the Queen, and he also wanted to, he also wanted to promise this safety and security for what she's built and for further progress.
because she never took a stance on certain political things. Something will happen in the country and the world, and she'll never really take a stance. And they believe that Charles won't be afraid to take a certain stance. Like he's more expressive about climate change and about some social changes and stuff. And this was back in the 90s and early 2000s. Like he weighed in, and his mom was like, "Well, you shouldn't weigh in, reservation." It's a bad impression, but you know what I'm saying? Like, reserve, like, and then he would step in it a lot of times.
Right.
So now they feel like, oh, what is he going to say? Like, what he's going to do about climate? Like, climate change is the big thing still. And he was talking about it in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And social changes and stuff like that. Like, and then you talk about social change, and then that stuff happens with Meghan Markle and all that stuff, which is about, like racism and things like that.
He mentioned them too. He's like, I hope they're doing well or something like that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know anything that I don't really know.
What else did he say?
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know what else would be significant.
Tell me the story.
Or important. Yeah, I just heard whatever. I remember whatever I felt was, I don't know, interesting to me. I mean, he's a king. He's the first. He's the first.
You got a king.
Yeah, we have a king now. And
Return of the King.
And speaking as a gentleman, and I think this is why we're really talking about the Queen's death and the King's rise, is we hope that, because he's a man and he's in a very public, powerful, quote-unquote, position, influential position, let's say, with a title that, there's a lot of men that have made that title seem nice and grand and, have immense responsibility, but there's a lot of men in history that have made that title very dark and tragic and repulsive. Mm-hmm. So I hope, as a gentleman, and I think so far
he acts like a gentleman.
Yeah, I think so far he's, I mean, it's been like 2 weeks, maybe a week, but I think so far, from what I have seen, the very little I've seen, he's being kingly in a positive way, and I just hope that he continues to be. I hope he's a proper king.
A lot remains to be seen. Yeah. You have to answer that questions through his next set of actions, not just his words. It's about his actions. Yeah. Is he going to chime in and weigh in? Is he going to react to certain things, or is he going to give a speech about something? It's always interesting when Elizabeth chose to make a speech about something. So what is he going to choose to react to and make a speech about? Talking about global things that happen, reactions to things that happen in the world, like Ukraine and all that stuff. He's going to weigh in and see what he does. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on actions.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated. You talk about the gentlemanliness nature of it. Like we talk about, we hear that phrase, you're a king of your own castle and stuff like that.
Yep.
Well, it's about how you behave, and it's always about what you say. It's also what you say. Because that's going to define your character.
Yeah,
and your
personality. And humans are allowed, in my opinion, humans are allowed to have weak moments. Moments, to clarify. Can't have, moments shouldn't, it shouldn't be more than moments, right? You shouldn't have weaknesses. You could have weak moments, and when you're in like a powerful position like this guy. Mm-hmm. But if he has weaknesses, and it's gonna be really bad for his influence, right? And and he kind of, in a way, he's the first king, right? Popular king, and like the first king in 70 years, right? It's been a while. We had a really strong queen who was strong and influenced.
And the kings before the queen weren't very popular then. One abdicated, and that's how she became into power. Mm. And then her father, Queen Elizabeth's father, he wasn't very strong or stalwart, and he was, so he had his opinions. So there weren't like strong royalty, and she came around 70 years, strong royalty. So he has a lot.
He has big shoes to fill in.
First king in so long.
Yeah, he has big shoes to fill in, which is his mother's shoes, and he has a big responsibility.
Let's hope he doesn't wear those mother's shoes.
I just hope he represents. I hope he represents himself well, because he's representing men as well, And as a gentleman, I want him to represent the positive sides of men, what and the good the side of men that helped construct the world into what it is now. Because
I hope that for every man is in a power position, because
Yeah.
we're Americans. Who are we to really be concerned
Yeah,
by
right,
how
yeah.
he represents? Because he has a crown on. He's one of the most important representations of a male in power with a crown.
Mm-hmm.
That's for life. It's for life. Like our presidents are supposed to be character driven too.
Yeah.
They got 4 years, and then we get to like make decisions and
Make
vote
another
them in
one.
or out. You know.
Yeah, exactly. This guy has to do it for the rest of his life. Who knows? It could be another 10 years. Could be another 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how
What is he,
long he's going to
70?
live.
70?
He's like 76. Who knows how long he's going to live.
Yeah, who knows?
But
Give him electrolytes. Give him
Yeah.
around.
yeah. I just hope he does well. That's all. Because
I'm hopeful.
he's in the pop culture scene. So he's gonna be representing an image.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that image is positive for men's sake. Because the world, society right now, I have my opinions. Society right now runs and still runs, and men have a lot to do with the way it runs. Like death professions. Nobody talks about death professions. They're called death professions. And maybe we should do an episode one day on it. But death professions are basically like the guys who go into, like, they're digging under the cities from the sewers and stuff like that, building, stuff like that. They're working on power lines where they could easily get electrocuted and die. They're working in the oil
skilled,
rigs.
Yeah.
Like they're working these jobs that, and it's when you look at, when you look at these careers and you look at the type of people who are working them, it's usually men. You don't find, I think it's pretty much men who work these death professions.
You just calling the king is in a death?
No. What I'm saying is men are still a big deal and a big part of why this society functions. And he, even though he's not in a death profession, he is representing men. So he needs to represent the goodness of men, because there's
He is,
modern.
and he is a representation. He is
Yes.
not the representation.
Yes.
But he carries on his shoulders an opportunity to
show
play a good part of that representative, have a facet of it.
Exactly, and that's what I'm personally hoping with there being a
Some
king.
people have already made the decision about him since he was a prince.
I know. And
So-
that's when I started hearing that, that's why I'm getting a little more like, I hope he does well, because now it's the big deal. Before he was a prince. and you
Game
could,
on, Prince Charles, King Charles. Whoa.
Yeah, King Charles is your King Chuck now, right?
Don't chuck it up.
Yeah, don't chuck it up.
Be King Charles.
Okay.
Don't chuck it up.
Show the good side of men, okay? Show the good side of a king, all right? Because society needs to remember that men are good. Just like women can be good and evil, men can be good and evil. Men need to show how good they are, how great
Actions
they can be.
Speak louder than words.
Exactly.
When Princess Di reached down and touched that AIDS patient, that was a bigger deal than anything else that most people have said in their life. I'm just saying.
No, it's true. It's true. I think we covered it,
I think we covered it. Hey,
Hey, I've been...
God save the king.
Yeah. Well, long live the king, let him... And long live him. Long may he reign well, right? I mean, it doesn't bother
come
us.
on,
We're Americans.
optimists.
Yeah. We're Americans. Doesn't really affect us. We're kind of just, we kind of fought you and kicked you out. But, hey, we still hope you did well or do well,
Yeah.
And
King Charles, what is he, the third? King Charles the third? King Chuck the three?
I don't know. I got no idea.
Chucky three?
But, yeah. But, yeah.
Covered it.
We covered it,
was
yeah.
good.
I've been Serious D. Lamitius.
I've been Joshua Callahan.
We've been the Gentlemen Sit Down. The link's in the description. Don't forget about it.
Right there.
If you enjoyed the episode, or if you were at least a little bit intrigued, hey, subscribe, ding a bell, maybe like it.
Yeah.
Leave the share button. If not, hey, leave a mean comment, put a dislike. We'll hope you have a great week. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.
Peace.